Hey everybody, happy Friday. We are here and happy Dominaria Day. I feel like Dominaria draft for Arena is somewhat like Cube draft for Magic Online. It's the thing that that the team trots out for us to play when they're in a little bit of a downswing in expected attendance. So, you know, sets have a cycle. Obviously, there's a lot of interest in a new set right when it comes out, and then it tails off, right? There's this tail to a set's compellingness to its audience. And so as digital magic planners, you're looking for play opportunities to offer to players at the low points in your set cycles. And so we're at the ultra low point of a set cycle just after the holidays. Limited Resources hasn't talked about Eldraine for like a month because they're done with it. So we're in this spot where people are looking for an experience in Magic that is, you know, not the current frontline thing. And Magic Online always turns to Cube Draft, and it feels like Arena tends to turn to Dominaria Draft as the biggest fan favorite draft format available on the system. I do expect that we'll have an Arena Cube at some point, maybe soon. The big hurdle over Arena Cube is not like card availability. I feel like I could make a compelling cube with nothing but the cards available on Arena right now. The big tech ask is really that you would go to a draft format. You'd be introducing phantom drafting to Arena, which is a big step for the program. So we'll see when they decide to introduce phantom drafting and cube drafts, but I think it'll happen eventually. In the meantime, we're here. I'm gonna actually change my numbers here while I talk so that our stuff is correct at the bottom. But also philosophically, we are on the free-to-play account, our primary account. And historically, my philosophy here has been we are standard focused. We're looking ahead. We're trying not to look back at historic, and we're trying to look ahead to future standard in terms of collection building and all that. Here's the thing, though. We're doing so well with our systems around here that we have just this incredible surplus of resources. And if our win rate continues as it has been, we can expect basically to trend in the positive direction in general. So I actually decided I'm totally willing to throw in with historic on the main account, in the sense that my rule will be, if we don't have it 4x'd, we'll draft it on the main account, right? That's a simple approach, right? We're approaching this from a constructed player and a collector standpoint, as well as a limited player where we like to build our collection. And we don't have 4x of Dominaria, so we're going to go ahead and play it. But here's the thing. We're also never really going to, we're probably never going to actually 4x Dominaria. So when we rare draft here, it needs to be because we think it's a playable card in historic, and we think that that's, you know, we want to build our collection towards that. But there's no real reason to take a junk rare that has no application in historic other than to be a completionist, which some people are, but I don't think we should be completionist about it. Being a completionist is expensive when you're trying to be free to play. But if we do see a sweet historic rare, we can go ahead and grab it. So... and if you want to grab an historic rare for your paper game, you know where to go, right? Card Kingdom panel right down below. The panel down below that says Card Kingdom is my sponsor will take you right to Card Kingdom via my affiliate link, which lets them know that you hang out here with me, and then sometimes go to visit them after talking to me about them. So remember that they are a real leader in the Magic retail industry. They are just up there with the best of the best in every aspect of delivering physical Magic stuff to your doorstep. If you need anything for your paper game, please check Card Kingdom out, and remember to use my affiliate link if you're going to buy something there, and then they know that that you're a fan of my stream. And then they'll want to give me they'll give me a raise, or they'll tell me we want to keep sponsoring you, Ryan, because it's all working out for us. So help me out with that, and then and all will be well. Oh, Mabinap, we may get to that. I mentioned it maybe before you got here. Something has come up and my afternoon got crunched. But if there is time after this Dominaria draft, we will do some standard shakeup. So anyway, let's dive in, though, and see what we get. Pack one, pick one, and I'll get into my Dominaria philosophy here shortly. Let's get a pickup, though. All right. So, Dominaria draft. For me, Dominaria draft tends to be about Sultai. Excuse me, Sultai. When I play white, it tends to be either paired with black or as a splash to blue, or some blue black type deck. I tend to avoid white like the plague. I've only ever I've only ever really splashed white, and then red. Red is also in that same vein. So basically, I tend to avoid Boros, and actually, there's no Boros here, no red at all to speak of here. But I barely see white and red cards early in a pack in this format. I am looking all at the Sultai, and so here I see Kazarov, which is fine. So this is a big mana format. One of the things I love about Dominaria is that you can be on turn 12 with 11 total mana available, and you're still counting your mana and trying to figure out if you have enough mana to get everything done this turn that you want to do or could do, right? And so I think that's a really special factor of this format and is underrated in exactly why people like it so much. I think Magic formats limited formats that lend themselves to something other than draw-go type stalled gameplay in the late game is great, and this format just offers endless mana sinks, places to put all that extra mana. So I like it a lot for that. As for this pick, it comes down to Kazarov, the 7 mana rare. It's not amazing, but you need a finisher if you're in a kind of controlling Sultai deck, and Kazarov can be a finisher. And, if I go back to my one-word summary of this format, it is survive until you can loop value. That's my one-sentence recommendation on this set. Survive until you can loop value. And by that, there's a lot of recursive graveyard stuff that you can do towards the end of a game to just blow it away. And I'm going to go, is cardboard working for people? Yeah, working for me. Anyway, to me this is fine, but we're going to take Song of Freyalise or Cloud Reader Sphinx. And Song is a great build around. And I like it a lot for that. Very powerful. Once you take this, you really want to start taking cheap creatures so that you can power out expensive stuff really quickly. And then with Cloud Reader, it's just basically my favorite blue common, one of my favorite commons in this set, really. There's some black stuff that competes as well, but this is a win condition. It's just, this card does it all in this format. It's a very powerful creature, and I kind of like blue even more than green, so I'm a little bit leaning towards Sphinx. But also there's there's Sphinx and Song are the only good blue and green cards, which is good for us as well. Yeah, we could take the play around early, Mabinap, and see if it comes together. That's fine. It's probably a little more powerful too, to be honest, than the Sphinx. I just love blue. So, but we'll take Song and see if we can build on it. Wow. Kind of a garbage pack here, but Fungal Infection isn't bad. But this pack is very bad. This is truly, I think, I don't know what the rare was. It must have been something okay. But this looks like about the worst pack I've ever opened in this format. But yes, Fungal Infection actually works well with Song of Freyalise. There's a lot of 1-toughness things you want to get rid of early, and when you do so here, you get a Saproling, and Saprolings work well with Song. So even though this is a pick I like to get like 7th, this is like a 7th pick, it actually goes quite well with our first pick, and is probably the best card in the pack, honestly. I mean, you can make an argument for Juggernaut, but it actually underperforms in this format, and it's not really what I want to be doing. This is very aggressive. You get no choice. You must be attacking, and must be attacking is not what I want to do in this format. I want to grind until my inevitability is far superior to yours. Here's one of my favorite cards in the format, Tatyova. We're going to snap Tatyova up. Blessed Light is a classic card that I will splash in white. This is one of the things I'll get into white to splash for. A little comment on Weight of Memory. This draw 3 cards at 5 mana is at uncommon, is in the same set as Divination at common, 2 blue, draw 2. And divination is far better. Divination, if you listen to LR, you've heard Luis talk about this factor a lot before, but one of the great uses of divination is on 3 or 4, casting it to find your 4th land drop. And Weight of Memory can't do that. And it's also double blue and 5 mana, you know. So anyway, but Tatyova is insane. We will look hard to either get into blue-green here or splash her in black-green. I love... Okay, so Urgaros is a fine... It's hard to call Urgaros a finisher because at 4/3, it's not super reliable to survive. But I do love an Urgaros. It's the kind of thing that if you can recur is very powerful. Caligo Skinwitch, one of the more important commons in the set. Don't sleep on Caligo if you haven't played this format before. Mostly, this is a 6 mana spell. You really want to try and get that kicker on the Skinwitch. The turn 6, get your last 2 cards kicked Skinwitch is one of the most gut-punchy plays in the format. And so you really want to try and do that. However, on the occasions where you go up against an aggro deck, don't be afraid to play this as a 2 mana 1/3 when it's what's going to do... when it will do the job of what I was saying my theory of the format is, which is survive until you can recur value, right? Because what you can do is like play the Skinwitch on 2, trade it off or chump with it, and then use the recursion stuff in this set to get it back, and then kick it on the way back to get, you know, anyway, that kind of stuff. But we'll take Urgaros here, try and maybe wheel the Witch. The bots didn't love the Witch the last time I played this format, but it's not like it reliably wheeled. We'll see. But Urgaros here, a happy pickup. Here's another inevitability type card. This is the thing, the format has a lot of these types of things. Sometimes there have been times where I thought I was in control. I thought I had locked down the game. I thought we were going to win. And then Thorn Elemental comes down on the other side, and I'm like, oh, instead I'm dead. Okay, because if you're at under 7 and with no life gain, this is just 7 damage you can't stop, right? So we're going to take Thorn Elemental as part of our top end here. A little early to have all this top end in terms of Urgaros and Thorn Elemental, but I don't see anything else here that I want. The Envoy is not great. Befuddle is playable, but not great. Sentinel, not really playable. Slyn Voda can be a win condition in a deck like this. It looks like it may be uncastable, but that's what I love about this format. It's totally not. Not only is 8 mana not uncastable, the 10 mana kicker is not uncastable in this format. But yeah, Soul Salvage is the ultimate recursion card that we're going to keep an eye out for. But I would rather just have Thorn Elemental over Slyn. Coldwater Snapper is an interesting card in the format because it's got hexproof, 4/5 hexproof for 6, and there is a 1 mana, a single blue mana for like +1/+1 and flying aura. And when you can throw that on here, it's a Poor Mage's win condition in the format. You'd rather have, you know, stuff like this, but sometimes you don't get the win conditions you want, and a Coldwater Snapper plus a flying aura will get it done. We may take that here just because there's nothing much else to do. I mean, we take Joy Rose Familiar, but I don't... I mean, we do have a couple of historic cards that it would make less expensive. I guess we take the Familiar here over a Snapper, but there's nothing... These packs have been very weak so far. Arcane Flight, thank you, Funky. That's the card I was talking about. And here's the problem with Boros in the format. The poster child for Boros's problems here. You've got your... supposedly standout uncommon Boros legend. Like, here's your standout uncommon Simic legend, and she's awesome. And there's a bunch of standout uncommon awesome legends. And then you get Tiana, who is a build around that just doesn't ever really get there. We're going to happily take Divination here. Thrilled to get this pick 7. Syncopate's also good. This is something to do on 2. I like how Syncopate scales in this format. Because people are trying to do things with 12 mana on turn 14 or whatever, you'll find that a Syncopate for blue and 2 can still get the job done on like turn 13 or whatever. And that's really crazy for a counterspell that has this type of effect. But that's the type of mana that people are using in the format. So I do like Syncopate, but we're going to take Divination over it right now. It's only our second blue card, so maybe we're not even, we could end up just black-green splash Tatyova, but Divination was correct there. Here's our first really big choice, because now we have 3 cards in 3 different colors that are all valuable and reasonable in this format. I just described why I like Syncopate. Especially, I didn't mention, though, that the other thing I love about Syncopate is that it's a 2-drop. It's very great to have a counterspell that counts as a 2-drop and as an 11-drop. So very strong in that way. But Omnivore, if we're in we got the fungal infection, if we get some more Saproling generation, we'd be very happy with a Thallid Omnivore. This thing is a beast. And yeah, Tatyova is our best card, but we don't want, but she's very, very splashable. Tatyova is so splashable. And of all of the Sultai pairs, if you take the 3 Sultai colors and imagine the pairs, blue-green is my least favorite of those. And I would much rather be Dimir splash green or Golgari splash blue. So, and Spider is important in the format too. Again, surviving until you can recur your value, but we can maybe pick these up late. I'm going to go with an Omnivore based on Song of Freyalise and Fungal Infection. I think we should lean black-green, splash blue, and we could splash a Divination as well. Here's that Arcane Flight I was talking about. Throw this on a... throw that on the Hexproofer and win some games that way. And there's not really anything else here. I mean, we could take Feral. I don't think we might play Pierce main deck if we don't get any other black removal. But I'm actually going to take the Arcane Flight as a hedge in case we do end up blue and we pick up the 4/5. Worm is playable, but very unexciting. Probably not playable here with Thorn Elemental and Urgoros in our pile. Like, it's just the 3rd place big dude. Homerid Explorer, I've run it when I had to, and if you're doing recursion stuff with the graveyard stuff, then it can be all right. Howling Golem, no, it's not really, but it's not unplayable. It's just whatever. Yeah, Muldrotha would be fun. I'm going to take Divest. Divest is a place where I've ended up disagreeing with LR a little bit. The problem with a card like Divest is that it's a terrible top deck late, of course, but it is actually quite powerful in the survive until you can recur value strategy. It's actually pretty bad against black because you divest their creature and then they have the graveyard recursion to get it back anyway. But when you cast Divest on turn 1 and take out their big turn 3 creature play or whatever, and it completely wrecks their curve out that they were planning, it actually does do that job of like, here's an early card you can play to make sure you survive to the late game. So I'm going to take Divest and understand that it's not amazing, but I think it's more playable than like Luis and Marshall have given it credit for. Befuddle, playable. Demonic Vigor is not. Shield the Realm is not really playable. I see people playing it a lot, and it makes me want to beat them. Mox Amber, well, I suppose if we're talking about rare drafting for the purposes of historic playables, Mox Amber is one of them, huh? We only have one of those. We're probably taking an Amber here for collection building. Passing and Eviscerate, though, sad to pass. We could just not collection build. We could say we'll be more opportunistic about it. Yeah, I'm a little torn. Like, I'll just take Eviscerate. Yeah, it's the thing. It's quite playable in historic. So if I'm following my model, I should just take it. But also, we're low on removal. It'd be nice to pick up this. Deathbloom Thallid is also great. Trading off for something early and then creating a Saproling. No, Mox Amber doesn't do anything for the deck. This isn't really limited playable. You got to combo. You got to build around that in Constructed for it to do anything. Deathbloom may wheel. It often does. Yeah. All right, I'm going to be greedy and take the Amber. Sorry, Eviscerate. That was a close one for me. in my head. Llanowar Elves seems like what you'd be happy to do here, but actually I'm pretty down on Llanowar Elves in the format. I guess with Song, it's worth it because we want like anything early, but I almost want the Academy Drake more than the Llanowar Elves here. But given that we're trying to lean into Song and treat Academy Drake as more of a splash, although this is quite splashable too. Yeah, good question. We have no marshals in this. Again, we haven't drafted much of Dominaria on this set, so we could take Banalish Marshal for historic playables as well. But I did it for the mythic. I'm going to not do it for this rare. I'm going to take the elves and pass on this Drake for now. But I don't love the elf pick either, honestly. Maybe I should just take the Banalish Marshal. Cast Down is a pick I love. We're going to take that and be sad about passing another Deathbloom Thallid. Maybe we'll wield the Windgrace Acolyte. This is more playable than it looks. Sometimes they just don't have flying defense, and clocking them for 3 in the air is real. But often 3 life makes a difference for you surviving to recur value, and self-milling allows you, sets up recurring value. So Acolyte, playable, but not a high priority. We're going to take the clean removal, though. Another Snapper available. We could take that one and have that Arcane Flight available, but we just have another Omnivore here. That's pretty easy. Jousting Lance is not bad in this kind of deck. Throwing Lances on 1/1 Saproling tokens turns them into real threats. 3/1 First Strikes are much harder to deal with than a 1/1, right? However, I'm not going to prioritize it here. We'll take another Omnivore, and if we happen to pick one of these up, we'll consider playing it, but it's a little bit win more too. This is an eminently splashable white card. We're already looking to splash Tachiova, though, so I think I'm going to let it go. But looks like the bots are about valuing white the way I do, which is not very highly, because these are great cards they're leaving for us. The reason green-black is such a powerful combo without blue is partly Dark Bargain. I think this is a pretty important card in the archetype, especially if you're not playing any blue, because this is kind of your black divination, and if you're going to survive until you recur value, well, this is part of the part of your value train. But yes, I do think we want the Deathbloom here over the Dark Bargain, partly because looks like we're trying to splash blue for some card draw anyway. So Divination and Tachiova are doing Dark Bargain's job on some level. And Deathbloom Thallid fits in a nearly empty slot in our curve, and when it dies, produces a thing that works with Song, etc. So yeah, pretty easy Deathbloom actually here, despite me appreciating the Dark Bargain and being tempted by this white splash. Here's a Skin Witch we can grab. Here's, you might come into this event thinking, oh, Llanowar Elves is going to be way better than Skin Witch. For all that, Ryan says mana is important, but the thing is important as much as you can spend mana on turn 12 till you're out of it. You don't want to draw this on turn 12, whereas this is often a good draw on turn 12 because of the value recursion going on. Even, if your opponent empties their hand, they may do something mid-game to fill it back up again in a relevant way that allows you to pick stuff off. But anyway, Skin Witch, awesome. Happy to get one here. Also, you can consider running out of Skin Witch for no discard value when you've got the Song and are considering it for that purpose. So keep that in mind. I don't like either of these green cards or either of these black cards. We could take the Blessing as effectively a cantrip. It's a 2-mana card that says draw a card, so its floor is pretty high as far as that goes. But I do not like Krosan Druid. I find that when I can pay 8 or whatever, when I have 8 mana available, gaining 10 is not what I want to do with my kicker. Sometimes it's what I got out of range of their aggro, but also people are so onto the nature of this format. Like, this is it's decent against aggro. Yeah, but here's the thing. But it's pretty bad against other control, and most of the decks around here are pretty controlling. You want to be able to manage aggro if you run into it, but mostly I'm worried about facing other decks like ours. I'm going to take Blessing and try not to play it. I don't think I want to play any of those if I can help it. We just want to get more Skin Witches, which I like even over this, you know, removal spell. I'll play an Animus if I have one, but I don't prioritize these over, especially in green-black, where I'm hoping to get more things like Cast Down and the Eviscerate that we passed pack 1 for the rare. Fungal Infection. Now here's where I want to take a Fungal Infection. We had to take this like pack 1, pick 2. Pick 9 is where you want Fungal Infections if you can get them. But they do make me want, you know, having another infection makes me want to cut the divest, but we'll worry about that later. No need to worry about that. Now we can take Vault Progress, but we might play Gift of Growth, so I'll throw it. But generally, Pump is not what you want to be doing in the format. Random question for me. Given Dom drafts are best of 1, is this a main deck disenchant effect format? I'm guessing given Sagas, yes. No, I don't usually. Frequently, the Sagas already get value once they hit the table, so your disenchant effect is like 2-for-1ing yourself. And there are plenty of decks that just don't have relevant enchantments or artifacts. Like, they're out there, but, you know, we might not even play the familiar, in which case our only target would be Song of Freyalise, you know, so I don't generally like a main deck spell like that. We could take Llanowar Scout. I really try not to play these, but you can play them in a Song deck that is lacking in early stuff, although we're not, though. I think with Elves, 2 Witches, and 2 Fungal Infections, we're getting some support for that early Song. But what else are we taking? We can take Unwind. Unwind, again, this becomes such a battle of recursive, powerful, non-creature spells. Unwind is surprisingly playable. Surprisingly playable. But I will take the Scout and put it in the board. I still think it's bad with Tatyova. Like, this is just not a good card. So many things have to go right before you're getting any value out of this. I'd rather have a generic 2/2 rather... Well, I might just rather have a generic 1/3 because it's better at defense than a 2/2. That's the question. But really, this effect is not... Like, I barely see this tap ability. It hardly ever does anything. You need to have so much land going through your hand for this to be doing much. I hardly ever see it do anything. But it blocks better than the... Well, it's hard to say. It blocks differently from the Evangel, so... Well, we'll take it and try not to play either anyway. Dread Shade. Black rare on color, but the color requirements are pretty oppressive there. We're just going to take a nice removal spell and settle the score. And then maybe wheel this Syncopate if we're still playing significant amounts of blue. We'll see. Maybe wheel this Windgrace Acolyte. That might be better. A better target for the wheel. Journey Mage is an interesting card in the format. I like blue, and I'll play this in any blue deck, but this is so much better in the aggro Wizards deck than it is in the kind of Sultai control deck. Bounce is just way better when you're being aggro in general. Just as a call out there. But let's take Settle. Another Song could really shore up the reliability of that whole strategy. Here is your premier card for the red-blue strategy. I say I don't play red much. The one aggro deck I do play in the format is this one, the Cinderwind Wizard aggro. But we'll probably take another Song, but let's take a look at this Antiquities War 2. This is the artifact one. Yeah, we're nowhere near this, so we're not going to take that. We'll just take another Song, try to wheel maybe this Elves. Maybe the Elves will come around. I think the bots value the Elves way higher than I do, though, so I'm not expecting to see these Elves. We'll take another Song, double up on Songs, and really try to zoom in on that. Oh, we have our first Grow from the Ashes, which is going to help us splash the blue. You want to combo with Tatyova. Now we're talking. Like, playing this because it combos with Tatyova is taking a very medium to bad card and trying to make it decent. Playing Grow with Tatyova is taking an awesome card and making it busted. So we'll do that. You just haven't lived until you've kicked a Grow from the Ashes with Tatyova in play. It'll change your life, man. We could take... We have another shot at a Kazarov. If we play this, I'm going to want to run a Miser's Mountain, which now with a Grow from the Ashes isn't the worst. But we're already trying to play a third color of land in blue. It's pretty oppressive to try and add a fourth one in red. By the time you are playing Tatyova, what's the odds you have 2 lands in hand? 2 lands, it's low, but what is your point, GPIC? I mean, if you read Grow, they don't need to be in your hand. Or are you talking about why you're talking about why this is not great with Tatyova. Yeah, because for Llanowar Scout to matter with Tatyova, you need 2. I gotcha. I am with you. Good. I was like, what are you talking about? Now I understand. I always think it must be frustrating for you guys to wait for me to catch up sometimes. Uh-oh, Ryan doesn't have it figured out. Let's wait. Hold on. He'll get there. He'll get there. Oh, okay, he got there. Anyway, back to this pick. Spider versus Kazarov really is where we're at. You can run the Envoy. I like the Envoy okay as a desperate filler. And like we don't have much going on at 3. So just dropping... what I want is more Deathbloom Thalids. But given that we're splashing, we could play the Envoy and it wouldn't be embarrassing. But yeah, Spidey... I think Spidey is the pick. We don't need this. And I don't want to add red to our deck. So I'm going to add another 5 here. We're also very light on 5s. So Spidey, a good time for Spider. Fungal Infection or Divination is where we're at. By the way, don't play Navigator's Compass. I don't know if there's anybody out there who needs to hear this, but this is not a playable card unless you are Sam Black with a very specific pile of nonsense. Very, very few decks legitimately improve their win percentage by playing a Navigator's Compass, so leave it out. Anyway, Divination. I'll take Divination number 2 over Fungal Infection number 3 and hope that we find maybe ideally like one more Grow from the Ashes. Can we get a Grow from the Ashes before we hit pick 9? Let's find out. Nothing here is going to make our deck, so I will take, I guess I'll take the uncommon. Probably. I think it was LR's Soapboxiest card, whether it was Marshall or Luis. Well, and I guess, you know, I have run Broken Bond main deck in Best of 1 before. Someone was asking about Naturalized main, and I was saying no. But now kind of like seeing the card that is that, I know I have played this main in Best of 1, but not excitedly as a, well, this will probably find a reasonable target, you know. But yes, this is a great spot for Memorial. Well, maybe not great. We only have 21 cards, so we're actually kind of low on playables. We're going to need to pick up a couple more or accept some of these weaker cards in the main deck. That being said, I'm still willing to take Memorial here and try and find some extra plays. Oh, wow, we did it last chance. Grow from the Ashes. This is so good for us. Oh my God, I'm so happy right now. Perfect, because we're low at 3 too. And we got the Windgrace on the wheel. Okay, I feel much better now. The last 2 picks, like we were pretty low on playables, you know, and then back to back, what I think are good picks for the deck that are really going to help us fill this out. Again, I guess I'll take I can take the Snapper, and then we technically have Arcane Flight Snapper. We just don't need it. We're going to use Thorn, Urgoros, and Tatyova as our finishers. Our big problem here is that I told you that the plan of this deck, the plan of this format is to survive until you can recur value. There is no recursion here. We're going to try and just value them out without specifically recursion, but the big thing that we got 0 of is the, help me out, the double reanimator, the double raise dead, soul salvage, thank you. Yeah, GPIC named it. Soul salvage is the big missing card. If we had 1 soul salvage here, I would feel fantastic, but even with 0 soul salvages, I think really, Dave. I think Soul Salvage is better here than it was in M20. Yeah, Eldest Reborn would be good too. We're not playing any of these though. Let's just take Vault Progress. I'm not playing any of these, and we might play an Envoy. Slightly helps with the splashing. Pretty good in most formats, but bonkers I felt in this one. And very sad I don't have one. I'm not playing the Confessor. It's not an unreasonable set of stats, and you can make an argument that playing it out as a 1/1 is decent for double Freyalise, but it's just not a powerful card. We're not gonna. It doesn't have a home. It doesn't have a job in this format. You know me. I'm very job oriented with my cards, and it's not one that I ever find a job for. Probably just want to cut the divest. Maybe the familiar, it does get Urgoros out a little bit and it flies. It can be a little bit of a lightning rod. People worry about it. Let's see what we're only 13 creatures. I guess we're going to cut divest because we're so low on creatures and we're doing this Song of Freyalise thing. This kind of makes creatures 2, so there's that. I'd say this deck is fine, but not amazing. It's missing that so valuable recursion, graveyard recursion. But yeah, we could do Gaia's Blessing. Maybe we do run that as like a filler card over some other. Is there, maybe even over one of the divinations? Don't want to cut a creature though, so it would have to be like for a divination. But it's not a bad call out. Like, you really do want to get some stuff from your graveyard back into your library. It would be a poor mage's way of recurring some value. And we can go down to 1 island in this case. With self-mill, I want to make 2, though. There's nothing worse than Windgrace Acolyte milling your 1 island, and then you're like, oh, I guess I never cast these 2 spells this entire game. Although Song of Freyalise does allow for some weird ways to cast these without an island. But I'm going to run 2 islands, and then 14, 15, 16. Yeah, that looks right to me. Yeah, Envoy helps a little too. I forgot about the Envoy. But I still think I'll run 2. Feels safer to run 2. Although, in before double island and all of our openers all event long. Yeah, I don't think of Nature's Spiral as an important card in the format, so I didn't even really see it. Oh yeah, no, it's not about inability. Like, in terms of availability of blue sources, we would be fine with 1 island. What I'm just trying to avoid is an awkward spot where we mill our only island and then are relying on Llanowar Envoy and Song of Freyalise to cast our blue spells. So, DomiNation. Here, I'll do it this way. Yeah. At the point at which you're shuffling islands back in with Gaia's Blessing to try and fulfill your Tatyova casting, you're in deep trouble. All right. Yeah, looks good. Looks decent. Not amazing, but decent. Did I? I can't remember. Yeah, I did capture a screen, right? I'll do it again just in case. Yeah, I totally did. Yeah, this is pretty rampy, and we don't have quite the payoffs I would like to see. Oh man, like if we had like a, just give us a, what's the uncommon Golgari Saproling Maker dude? So we don't have a lot, don't have quite the sinks I would like to have. You're right, but I don't think that's worth running Primordial. We're just gonna go for it. Slimefoot, thank you. You all are much better at remembering cards. I can't remember a damn card to save my life. That's why, I mean, if I ever did coverage, I would just feel like I'd have to spend all my time memorizing the cards coming up. Well, awkward. Awkward, and... Man, show me the swamp on top. I keep this, but let's mulligan. Alright, that looks prettier. Gonna ditch a song and see what we can find. Yeah, stump the Spain. It's like... Luis does stump Vargas with, like, you know, Fallen Empires or whatever. You could stump Spain with Eldraine, I think. No reason to cast Song here, but I like having the Fungal Infection, hoping that Oppo drops something with 1 toughness here. No luck. We could cast it down, but that seems awfully weak. If our first play of the game is... Oh, okay, it's going to be an Envoy. I was going to say, if it's first play of the game is an Omnivore, not amazing, but we'll do what we must. Well, here we're going to send in, quote, offer a trade and hope they try to take it, and then we shrink with Fungal Infection, and Fungal Infection kills the Druid for pretty cheap. If they double block, then they got it figured out. Meme Machine for the Golem, you got it. All right, they're going for it, and we're going to punish them. I think if they're going to make that block, and you all should too, in these spots, if you know there's possible tricks, just double block. If Oppo had double blocked here, they'd still take out my Envoy. And now is a reasonable time for Song with these two out in the Skin Witch. Like if we draw a land, we can Skin Witch next turn. So we're going to try that. It's a little risky because if we don't, we're just casting Omnivore. Well, know your tricks, Mabinap. But in this case, I don't think there are Death Touch tricks in the format. But yes, fair point. Know your tricks. I guess the broader lesson there is when you're considering a block like that, ask yourself if the tricks in the format lend themselves to a double block, right? Really want an untapped land off the top. Basic land off the top is what we are crossing our fingers for here. Gonna be like that, huh? Gonna be like that. It would have been amazing to get a land there. As it is, we are now deciding what exactly to put out there. I'm gonna go because what we can do is no value, quote, no value Skin Witch to get a 1/3 down that becomes a 2/4. Yeah, we can. We're definitely gonna Omnivore, Mike. The question is, do we want to? Oh, can we do both? We can't because you can't tap it because it's summoning sick. Okay, never. I was thinking we could do both. In my head, we would go Omnivore, and then Skin Witch by tapping the Omnivore. But of course, the Song of Freyalise does not like override summoning sickness. They just gain tap add, so we do not get to play both. We do, however, have a sneaky 1 mana available to us to pump the Omnivore if Oppo's not paying attention. So, like, if they send in Raider, we have to decide... Ooh, well, yeah... We're going to settle a score with Siege Gang before it goes nuts, but even making the 3/1/1s is pretty good. Oh, and actually, we don't necessarily have the black yet, and we're not going to have it next turn. Like, we need a swamp off the top, or we're in a bit of trouble. Yeah, we also had Cast Down. That I didn't mention that, Tron, but yes, I would have gone for the 2-for-1 there if they had done that. Or at least, yeah, because we could have taken... Which maybe is a reason they didn't do that block. It's tough. Blocking with every possibility in mind is tough. Looks like they did go for it, and they tapped out beforehand. I just don't think they saw what they're doing here, but they're trading an Omnivore for a Saproling. Or they're trading a Raider for a Saproling here. Let me make sure I can... Yeah, okay, I can do it. No, oh, sorry, I was thinking a Commander was a Rare. Sorry, it was a Legend, you're right. Ryan takes a minute to catch up once again. I was thinking Siege Gang Commander was legendary and therefore we couldn't cast it down, but now we don't need a swamp, we can just cast it down. And I feel better. Well, no need to do this before we attack with our... one nice thing about Song of Freyalise, after Chapter 3 goes off, you can truly just do a no-look shove. There's not really anything Oppo can do on blocks to punish you for a... and because of the vigilance, there's just no penalty for just shoving all after you do Chapter 3 of the song. And you got the trample. It's just like... that's one of my favorite aspects of the card. That the language of the 3rd chapter is just says, yeah, just shove, you're fine. Tim Nose got a gifted sub from Pirates earlier. Generous gifting. Thanks again, Pirate. I don't know if you're still around. Mike said he'd rather take the hit from the Raider and have a 2/2 Saproling right now. I couldn't get behind that. I'd much rather have a dead 4/3. And here's the crappy Llanowar Scout coming out and showing you why it's crappy. Let's see, Omnivore threatening to be a 6/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It would take all of their creatures to have enough power to take out the Omnivore, even if we don't play the Skin Witch. But by playing a Skin Witch for no value here, might as well add my own 1/3. I mean, I think they're going to empty their hand before we get to kick the Witch. So, yeah, TJO, we're not going to play... we're not going to play to runner swamps for the Skin Witch, but yeah, so we're just going to play it as a 1/3, so that now we potentially have Envoy and Skin Witch to sacrifice to the Omnivore, leaving them with no blocks, and showing you why Omnivore is a good card. It starts to become an Abyss. Like, they just have to start throwing goblins in front of this. Maybe they can take this one hit or whatever, but eventually they start to have to just throw things in front of it. Yeah, as Mike points out, if we get to 6, we're going to drop this Legend. We're not going to kick a Skin Witch anyway. Huh. So they are going for it. Yeah, I think they now... What? Oh, maybe they have... They must have... Do they have Gift of Growth? Are we up against a pump spell? So far, the only thing that explains this is Gift of Growth, which is +3/+3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of power. And if we are willing to give up both of our creatures, which I think we are here, especially if we do it, because we get to pump, make them do the gift, and then do it again. So let's see what we want dead, though, because we're going to end up with 8 power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 toughness and 8 power we're likely to have. So we're going to put the least important creature, the 1/1, back and hope that our 8 points takes out these. And in case we don't need to sacrifice both, we'll put the 3s up front. So if we only do 6, these will be the 2 we take out. Oh, they do get +3 toughness. That's true, Mike. So we'll put it, we still put it here. Maybe we put it this way then. We put it, given the added 3 toughness, if they 3, 4, 5, 6, then if they 3 toughness one of these, we still get them both. All right, yeah, we'll do that. I like that, Mike. Thanks. Kill wizard. Oh yeah, this one you mean? Yeah, it's after what Mike pointed out, it's correct anyway to do it this way. Yeah, Lava Runner Pump could get him there, but we're at least going to start with this. Oh, 2/2. Oh, great. Well, I don't even know. Like, what was that about? Oppo. I don't even know what that was about then. All right, never mind. What was that block? Does anybody understand? They were just wanted to make me sack. They wanted to trade all those for the Skin Witch? I don't know. Yeah, it could be. Let's remember that Dominaria is going to be a new format for a lot of people, so we might see people trying their first Dominaria, or early, not as experienced with Dominaria, maybe making some mistakes that they wouldn't otherwise. Hey, Blade Fury, thanks for the raid. Welcome, Blade Fury and friends. Yeah, I'm not sure what Oppo was thinking there. And this kind of stinks. You generally want to try and kick this if you can, but we're also not going to overthink. We can... oh yeah, and that doesn't even let us settle. Okay, we're going to grow, get ourselves our swamp, and then at least we can settle next turn. No attacks here. We're at a healthy life total. They're down to 1 card in hand, and their only decent card out here is a Partick Wanderer that we have an answer for, and we have an Urgoros coming. So I think the advantage bar is pretty far in our direction, but of course, with this format, they could drop a double dragon. You know, there's plenty of things Oppo could do to swing this back in their favor, but right now it's looking good for us. Still going to... Well, we could just Urgoros here. They're not attacking. Sure, I'll just use all our mana, play this out, and then settle next turn if they're not going to attack. Jeez. Sorry. Seeing bad news headlines on my phone. Mike is so clever. That gives them 1 turn to present a better settle target, says Mike, as Oppo presents a better settle target. And actually, now given this situation, so we've got Gorger and this, and they're empty, and we, there's just no reason not to make this trade. They can have our Omnivore here. We still get to keep our 4/3, and we get to settle the 7/7, and then what are they doing? Well, I shouldn't do that till we've attacked. Well, no, I need to, because then we can attack with this. And if they want to trade 3 of their remaining creatures for our Envoy, we'll take that as well. That was enough for Apo. They may have had some superior card quality lurking in their deck somewhere, but of the cards that showed up, ours were a lot better. Hey, Depth and Breadth. Going great. How's yours? Sorry, APO. Just starting new wars over here in the States. No big deal. Have to keep this. Don't have... hopefully they play something to infect. Really hope they play something to infect. But if they don't, we got all of our colors. We got Sultai Tron for 3. No action from either of us yet. Looks like our first play might be a turn 4 Omnivore. Why, Oppo? You're not doing it right. Never play a Skin Witch into no pressure. Like, there's just no reason to play this card in this spot. We'll play another Swamp so that we have technically double infection available. And if we wanted to, we could infect the Skin Witch and even block and kill it if we want to get those tokens going. But I think we'll find more value for the infections by waiting. It's possible. That's fair, G-Pick. If Oppo is just Skin Witch flooded, then sure, send one out. But in this format, you don't even need to do that. Like, I mean, they're stuck on land. Maybe that was their thought. They're so far away from it. But okay, that's reasonable. If they're stuck on 2, I guess that's fair. But even then, I think I would wait. Even then, I think I would wait. Let's just get our splash down and play that Omnivore. Unless they find their lands right away or have like a cast down for this Omnivore, this could be over quick. Yeah, lack of lands is a good explanation for why someone with a reasonable rating might run out a Skin Witch early. I'm going to send in with no saps out, and they may think that this is a chance to double block and trade for my Omnivore, but they're too smart for that. But that's okay. We're just going to go to Windgrace anyway. Yeah, we tried, Mike. They were too smart, but we're going to Windgrace, use all our mana, and set up for... And if we find a land off the top, there's one tapped land in our deck, but if we find a basic land, we can kick our own Witch. Ah, that's important for Oppo. It's going to unlock them from this current mana struggles they've had. So now we kind of really want to find a way to... Might have to settle the score with one of these. Sure did, didn't they? Interesting turn for us, because They're going to untap with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. If they find a land, 8. And with 8 mana, they may be able to play out their hand, but probably not. Even with 8 mana, they probably leave us with a couple of cards to skin witch next turn. So let's not skin any witches this turn, but I think we need to settle the score on the Thallid. And then I don't think they're going to block here, but we're going to try. We're going to send in and see if they'll do us the favor of blocking this Omnivore. Oh, they will. Fantastic. So we're going to go Fungal Infection. Eat. And then reinfect this one. This increases our creature count to set up our Frailes for next turn, and reduces the effectiveness of theirs. Now, if they re-witch us, that will be justice, huh? Because they played the first one out early, and then if they get our last 2 cards with the second one, ooh. But it'll show you why I'm so high on the Skin Witch, or like whether they do it or not. Imagine if the opponent has another Skin Witch right now, how bad it is for us. And that's why it's just a fantastic card in this format because of exactly these spots. I'm just bracing for it. Whew, lucky. Yeah, Mike, I was thinking about that. So my plan was to settle the Death Bloom because it wouldn't create the sap, but then they produced a block that made me think we should do the sap, the double fungal instead. And we actually get both. We get to, if we take a turn off from attacking here, we get to settle the score on the Death Bloom, and we get to Skin Witch 2 of their cards. That seems fantastic. Watch, yeah, the news is depressing. The news is depressing. We put a crazy monster in charge of our country. Wow. Sorry to get political, but man, our president's starting a war with Iran. Like, that's effectively what he's doing here. It might not come to that, but it effectively is, and it's disastrous, and it makes me very sad. Sorry to bring up sad world news while we're trying to play Magic, but it's important stuff and weighs on my mind. Oh man, okay, well, we're gonna have to, we'll see where they go with this, but we're gonna, ooh, interesting, okay, how do we, what do we want to do? Because we can, we could pump this up, and we could sack our saps and save the Omnivore, or we can kick the Witch, and I think I'm gonna go with kick the Witch. Not that we need to do it quite like this, but whatever, it's fine. Kick that witch. I didn't even mention Tatyova, but I really do my best to play Tatyova onto a board in which I get to then follow up with a land play. You basically want to play a land the same turn you play Tatyova, so you're ensured at least replacing her if they come up with removal. Oh, I should have blocked there. I was being a little bit lazy, but we could have saved 2 points by blocking the Witch or the... And there you go. The Soul Salvage that we did not find is going to be a key card for Oppo, but we found a land for our Tatyova. So let's start by seeing what happens here. Cast Down is nice. It won't take care of Urgoros, but it'll take care of Windgrace. And then we have our own Windgrace that can at least trade in the air with Urgoros. Of all the formats where I'm unlikely to be punished for missing 2 damage, this is one. Like, this game is going to come down to, or where I'm not going to get punished for accepting 2 extra damage, it's this one. Like, it's just going to come down to board control and not mistakenly allowing a couple extra points of damage. Not trying to let myself off the hook for a mistake. I'm just saying, as far as mistakes go, it's going to be less costly than a lot of them are. What do we have on the ground? Nothing. All we got right now is Windgrace in the air. I guess they were hoping they found land and then they didn't, so they gave it up. I don't know. Seems a little bit early for them to scoop that one. Having some success early. I really think our deck is ultimately underpowered for the format, though. It's got some powerful cards in it, and if we consistently draw them, we could be fine. But what I'm expecting to happen is that if we don't just get mana lucked out of it, which looks like we're having good mana luck here. So if we stay steady with our mana, we should largely win more than we lose for a little bit, and then get ourselves into the bracket where we're going to play against some people with some busted stuff. So we'll see. Oh, it was already lethal? Okay, well, again, maybe Oppo is doing better at counting than me. I really have to watch out for my board mentality in this format especially. I'm so, like, in general, one of my leaks is being too board focused when I need to be life total focused. And if there's a set that leads me into that trap more than any, it's this one. We'll go ahead and grow here. Again, I love to be able to kick grow, but we don't have that capability, and we could really use the second black for Urgoros and Settle. So we're gonna go get that swamp. And one nice thing about grow is that land comes in untapped, so we do get fungal infection if they play something worthy of it. The thing is, I don't think their Saproling is actually worthy of it. So we're not going to use it here. Although, would be bad if we don't find some... Oh, we have settled. We have settle, so I just don't want to settle any of these. So I'm really hoping we find something to play, but I suppose if we don't, then we have the fungal to play. So our worst case is if we find some 4-drop we want to play and then we don't have fungal, but I'm going to just draw. All right, so we have Llanowar and fungal to work with this turn. Llanowar not bad here. If we find a land untapped off the top, we can kick a Witch or drop an Urgoros. And if we don't find a land, we at least have Mammoth Spider. Now we're also in a spot where do we want to trade fungal infection for the shepherd, or the sap herd, or try. I'm gonna say sure. Why am I doing it when we have a witch coming up? Is my life total in that much of a state? Thing is, if we do get our mana is also going to be tied up for the next several turns between Urgoros, Caligo. So maybe I should do it now, just because we're not going to have an opportunity to play this coming up if what we want happens and we find a land. You want to infect the Sapperling and double block, but I don't want to lose the elves. That's a powerful card. Looks like we may be settling a score here instead of playing a spider. But this is exactly the type of card that I'm talking about. When I was saying it's just going to get harder and harder for us. We're just going to face more and more bomby legends in this format. This is not a bomby legend. This is a bad card. This is a pretty bad card. So far, our opponents have been playing some sketchy stuff. We're going to take most of their hand. Skin Witch so good. How good are these cards going to be? Let's find out. What you got left, Oppo? Okay, well, sometimes it's not amazing. This offends me more than anything, though. We now have to destroy this person for playing full art John Avens alongside non-full art lands. I think there's nothing aesthetically that bugs me more. I'm going to go ahead and try and... I mean, they maybe they have a fungal infection or whatever, but the Skin Witch has kind of done its job. I'm going to make them use their stuff. I have no illusions. Yeah, great. Traded another medium card for a card that already got us a 2-for-1. Okay, we gotta take this game. These are not quality cards. I'm just gonna start with Urgoros with their empty hand. Yeah, at least on the battlefield, it doesn't look as weird, huh? That's a fair point. What did they draw that they're willing to attack into Urgoros here? I don't know, but with 13 life, we're going to respect their bluff. I think it's a bluff, but Urgoros too valuable to risk to more combat tricks. They've shown the willingness to play a gift. That's true. It was kind of a free attack, but still, that's why it was a bluff, though. I mean, it's just not worth it. Yeah, they had a good bluff spot, but now we just have a good spot. And I should have done that. We might draw a Tatiova here, and I'll really regret that. And then, again, that's... Longtime viewers know it's one of my leaks that I kind of unconsciously play lands before I should without really thinking about it, and that was one of those spots. But I'll stop now. Draw Tatiova. Come on, I wanted Tatiova to like reinforce that lesson that I need to be patient here with lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With 8, we can Spider and Thallid, so let's do that. We don't need to cast anything down here. Why do I call it a leak? That's a poker term. In poker, as we discuss our progress at the game and thinking about how to improve, one way to think about how to improve at a game is to understand where you're consistently doing things incorrectly. And so a leak is a poker term for a game, an aspect of the game that you consistently do incorrectly and that you want to work on. Because like you have a bucket, and in your bucket is your game, and you don't want any of your game to leak out. Yeah, we could pop Memorial too. Maybe that'll find us a Tatiova. But let's again start with an attack, and yeah, we're just gonna send Urgoros until it doesn't work. All right, we're going to hold that forest. We are going to go ahead and activate this like so. So all right. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Croaker. It's leaking win percentage, and you want to plug those leaks. A bucket of win percentage that's leaking. Any thoughts on Dom not being standard legal, but costing the same as standard set rank drafts? I mean, yeah, well, like better than what they were doing before, which is going to charge us more for historic stuff. I mean, you think it's to be cheaper because it's rotated? I mean, in Magic, in Wizards of the Coast Mind, they've made another booster pack that contains magical cards and has the same value as any other one. Of course, I say that after they had almost been asked to charge, you know, we're going to charge more for it. Oh, baby. Are we going to get there? Tatyova with a grow? Might not, because we might grow before Tatyova even lands, but we're certainly going to keep this. Happy Friday, Nightmare. We're going to have a choice coming up next turn on whether or not to grow or wait. And with all of this land, and nothing else to do, I think we have to. I mean, what am I going to do? Wait to draw a not 4-drop and then literally do nothing? Yeah, we can't afford to wait. Well, you can, Mabinap. You absolutely can afford to wait in this format, but not against the person who is going red, white. We're going to ramp and hope that we find something else to do besides turn 4 Tatyova, because turn 4 Tatyova is very vulnerable to death before you actually get value out of her. So hopefully we find something else to do, but if not, I will run out the Tatyova. Oof. Yeah, so now we are in a spot where a bunch of, like, I hate everything Oppo has done so far. Oppo has played red-white cards and bad ones, in my opinion. I don't respect either of these cards. I've lost to Overseer before. Sarah Disciple doesn't do a lot, but we may lose to this anyway. It's going to come heavily down to this moment right here, because we are going to send out Tatyova. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Foil King is correct. I took a risk here I didn't need to, because we're not blocking anyway. Hopefully they don't kill Tatyova. But here's the reason to do it, actually, Foil King, is that we use our mana this turn. If we draw something to do next turn, we're going to be glad we played her out. So I hear what you're saying, but hopefully this turns out okay. And we find we're going to gain some... Okay, perfect. Good, 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 good. Let's get some life and a card. And then play something that we're willing to trade for that Overseer. I hate using an Omnivore to trade for a bad 3-drop, but I hate losing even more, so let's not do that. And we're certainly not sacking Tatyova, and we'll go ahead and attack with her because of that. Although we might, you know, if they do something where we just have to sack her to the Omnivore to not die, we'd do that. They might go with the Overseer here so that it can, so they trade Bodyguard for the Overseer, or for the Omnivore instead of the Overseer. But with Elemental coming down, our real problem is the flyers that we don't currently have a defense for, not anything going on the ground. So we're going to offer it all up on the ground and at least gain a life next turn. And, oh, what did they do? Let's see. Yeah, okay, so they're going to... I don't feel great, Mike, but how do you feel about living? Wow, Oppo maybe forgot that play? I don't know what they were thinking there. I think we actually are more... Well, with this, I'll play a forest. Skin Witch? I'm going to Skin Witch because we might not have time, and the Skin Witch actually blocks the bodyguard just as good as a Thorn Elemental. Just got to find something for these oppressive flyers up here. Ruinous Blast and a Plains. They couldn't cast the Ruinous Blast currently, and the Plains obviously doesn't help them, so they have one card left over, presumably. Not blocking with Tatiova again, so we're going to send in. If we gain just a little bit more life, we actually might be able to race them with the Thorn Elemental, actually. Spider would be great, but over the course of the next 2 turns, we're at a virtual 11, and I think we might be able to race 3 in the air with virtual 11. Or we can settle a score. I don't think they can kill us next turn, so I think I want to go Thorn Elemental Song here, and we'll save settle for next turn. Or can we do both? No, we can't do both. Oh, we can. If we song first, we can do both. Okay, so let me think it out, though, if we want to do that or just settle. Yeah, I think we want to song into Thorn. But maybe I should attack first. Yeah, I'm going to attack with Tatiova first, and then execute that play. Technically presenting lethal in terms of total creature power. Obviously they have blocks, but well, sometimes you lose to an Overseer. Hate this color pair, hate this card, but sometimes it does do that. I guess we should have settled. Yeah. Sorry, Oppo. Don't respect that deck. You got me, but I think your deck sucks. Yeah, maybe we couldn't defeat that. And I would say that to Oppo if they showed up in chat, which is, I try very hard to assume that every one of my opponents is going to show up and chat with me afterwards. So I try to say things that I would say to their face if they were here. And really? Sorry, Year of Glad. I don't think it was being that salty. And mentioning sad news. I mean, I just mentioned real news. Jeez. And I don't know, is insulting OP's deck insulting OP? I guess it's insulting their magic drafting skill or something. But again, if that Oppo showed up right here, I would tell them I think their deck sucks. I've looked at decks of mine and said I think my deck sucks. So, you know, I'm just trying to do an actual dispassionate judgment of the quality of cards I'm seeing. But yes, but I beat them. If they had beaten me with 1/3s, I would have said, "You got me, OP, but I think your deck sucks." Yeah. Just self-examining. I think we'll just blessing here to cycle. Yeah, I'll get off it, but thanks for your thoughts. But again, I didn't say I didn't respect Oppo. I said I didn't respect cards. Sorry, I said I would get off it, but I want to be clear. I never said anything about Oppo. I said cards and deck. Now, let me move on. All right, we're going to go Death Bloom. And we're going to try and get this Fungal Infection fired off before we do Frailes so we can get a 2/2 and extra mana, etc. Fair enough, Mama.
All right, everyone, chill.
Yeah, I don't know. I would make some comments about my opponent's card choices, but I am happy that my opponent is alive and playing Magic with me, and I hope they're having a great year with their crappy cards. I hope Oppo is learning this format, getting better at it, improving as a Magic player, and learning how crappy their cards are. We're going to try the same trick. Let's see. If they double block, I'm not super thrilled. Do we think they'll double block? If they double block, we can't get away from it. We just lose the creature. I'm going to risk it. I think somewhat, you know, this is a card quality choice thing. I feel like Jarvis is showing a lack of command of the format with some of the cards I'm seeing here. So I'm going to put Jarvis to the test on their blocking. If they double block, they did good. If they single block, we're going to get them. If they put Druid on Thallid, we should be good. All right, they did what I was hoping. We could consider a song now that we have the two creatures. We can play Memorial and Song and have a lot going on next turn. Maybe, Mike, it's just that I strongly dislike the decks that you would even run it in. Like, it's decent in that deck, but I just don't like that deck, I guess. Yeah, let's go Memorial Song. And one, you know, songing now, like, we don't have a lot of action here, but we'll at least get to kick a grow and, like, find something with Memorial. I know we could kick grow without Song, but with it, we can potentially find, we can also Memorial or whatever. And Song eventually gets these creatures bigger. It's a 3/1 haste with a kicker that allows you to act of treason. Cardboard Live is working for me. Might want to try a refresh. Okay, cool. Happy to get another creature here. Let's see what we can do with this hand now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana available. So we grow and then Thallid. Perfect. Because the grow lands come in untapped. Guess we'll get the other island. Doesn't really matter. I'll get 1 forest, 1 island. Great turn. Lucky draw for that. Was going to fall back on using Memorial to Unity with the 4 mana, but instead we got Thallid. Yeah, good point. Mabinap points out that if they Skin Witch us, we still have blue ready. And they might. This is a Skin Witchy format. No-brainer shove to start. And Oppo, we're going to ask you a question. Do you have something for Urgoros, or are you dead? Yeah, let me be clear, with no insult to our friend Jarvis, who I'm happy to be playing. Jarvis is not playing good cards in the format. It's risky to play colorless lands, get color screwed running the Zolfarian Void. Construct maybe viable in a heavy historic aggro deck, but I don't think that format is good, or that archetype is good. I think Sorcerer's Wand only belongs in a wizard deck. You've already heard my thoughts on Llanowar Scout and my thoughts on Krosan Druid, so Oppo has yet to play a card that I would be happy to have in my deck. Oh, did I forget? I did it again. I'm telling you, I'm talking about what I don't like about Oppo. What I don't like about me is my leak of playing lands without thinking about it. Think about lands, Ryan. Come on. Especially since we actually don't have much mana sinks. The best use for our land is Tatyoving some extra cards. We're going to send all of our big stuff. Yeah, it's worth it for Memorial, I suppose, but I need to at least think about it. My big problem with myself on the land front is that I do it without thinking. I don't even ask myself if I should play the land or not. I suppose I should have sent all two. Yeah, I'm thinking about one mistake while making another. We'd be happy if they blocked a Saproling, so we should have sent it. I think we'll be fine, but again, observing my mistakes, being honest about it. Well, it would have been, if we had attacked with a Saproling, they would have blocked differently. Let's take a look here before we decide on Song. Envoy, you say. So let's go, well, I can at least turn my mistake into something slightly positive, because now we get to tap this for mana and cast the Envoy. Oppo? Hello? There's not really there's not Urza's Ruinous Blast, I think, is the only wipe in the format, which is another big factor. Oh, what's the other one, David? I only remembered Ruinous Blast. Ah, Scriptures. Thank you. Yeah, good call. So it could be Scriptures, although we get one turn. So Scriptures doesn't save him here. Scriptures is a board wipe delayed by one turn. Yeah, wipes non-artifacts, correct. Hey, Medium. Thanks. Glad you're learning a lot here. I'm not really a tier list kind of guy. I don't know. If I made a tier list, would you all really use it? Like you'd refer to it while drafting or whatever? Or is it just kind of interesting? Like, I don't know. Like tier lists tend to be, yeah, like what are the absolute stupid bombs in the format? What are the S, the special, and then what are the A? It's basically grades. It's basically it's kind of like a set review, but after you understand the format, David, would be how I would put it. Well, that's the thing. War Furnace, there's a certain way in which people just like talking about the relative power level of magic cards, regardless of whether it's a useful tool, whether it's a tool you bring out to affect your drafting. Like, people just like comparing stuff, right? So it's a way to say, I think, but what I don't like about tier lists are similar to why when I was on limited resources, we never did grading, and why when I tried doing set reviews on stream, I gave up on grading myself and basically turned grading over to viewers because it just wasn't looking at the power level of a magic card in a vacuum for limited purposes has limited purposes. It just is not that helpful to me, so I don't focus on it that much. All right, this is the play. This is where we get them. This is the type of fungal infection play I love. They might have an answer, but at least we'll trade for their answer. But if not, this is just so good. Delicious. Looks like we got the red blue wizard deck I was talking about. So we could song here. If we song here, what we're doing that for is so that next turn we have 5 mana for a Tatyova. I don't know if that's worth it. They are blue-red. They would need to have the kind of Wizard's Lightning or but they'll untap 4, untap 5, so they'll have 5 land with Tatyova out. So if they have some of that big red removal, yeah, I'm just trying to figure, because if we wait though, I'm going to wait a turn. I'm going to wait because if we execute that same play next turn, we can play Tatyova and follow with a land, which is very valuable to me. Although, yeah, it really does kind of stink here to do nothing but song, but it's what we got. Another chill request, all right.
All right, everyone, chill.
Yeah, we'll do it, though. Yeah, we'll see what they want to do with Icy, but I should have mentioned my thoughts on Icy, because they can Icy our land or our Sapperling, but we still get at least Spider in that spot. We may not get Tatiova with a land play, but we will at least get Spider. Ooh, and a retort. All right, well, I'm almost glad we didn't have the Tatiova play then, because we would have run it right into counter magic. Although we still need an island now, or we're not going to cast her at all. No island. Kind of want a memorial here over Settle. Like, they may power something out off Joyra, but they only have 2 cards left. We're at 18. We don't have a Harry Potter box that if you want to see the list, I think it's box list. Let's go. What's Memorial? Caligo, or we can take Envoy. They're almost out of cards. We're not going to get anything with a Skin Witch. Envoy lets us cast Tatiova, so we'll take Envoy. My sense here is, like, this is a great card, but, like, we're kind of just dodging not Fraley's, Adelaide's, the legendary uncommon wizard lord type lady. All right, you want the hillbillies? You got it. Well, no pause for counter magic, so that's good to know. Double Llanowar action. All right, so here's hoping they did not find counter spells. You're late, Island, but we figured it out without you. No attacks here, and let's see, we're putting hillbillies in the premium. Is that where you want? Where's Beverly Hillbillies? Where are those stupid hillbillies? What's Oppo doing? Attacking us. Ooh, we get a Skin Witch here. That'll be good. What did they come up with? What did they... Oh, they killed Tatiova. That's too bad, but we get a nice 2-for-1 here.
To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance!
I'll make a meme machine list to eventually Lost Nightmare, but I don't think there is one right now. Ooh, wow. Chronicler and Haphazard Bombardment are what they sent away. Who knows what their last card is, because Chronicler is quite good in their deck. Maybe they don't have the second red yet, and that's why they got rid of it. So maybe this card is worse than Chronicler, but they can cast it. Anyway, we'll go to combat. Still don't have an attack here, so we will next turn, though. Right on Pimpin'. All right, so Coldwater Snapper hits. Makes me think their win condition is to, you know, go for the aura on top of this. And also just got this familiar crashing in. We're gonna have to settle that score, I think. We can even do both here. Yeah, since they're out of cards and this is actively hurting us, we're gonna settle the score and then hope that Omnivore gets the job done. That's true. So we need something else. Let's see. I guess we need Omnivore plus... What else? What is going to get us out of this? We have another Urgoros and a Thorn Elemental. So we basically need... And we have another Thallid Omnivore. So we basically have 3 other creatures and Windgrace Acolyte. So, and Jorah's Familiar can attack too, although it's not as exciting. Basically, we have 3 to 5 creatures that if we can find, they combine with this Omnivore to overload the Icy to allow us to attack. Yeah, Turtle seems like nothing right now, but as soon as it gets the kitty flying, we're in trouble. And I respect basically all of these cards. I mean, yeah, like just to talk about, I'm trying to talk about the format and the quality of the card. Hey, we found one of our extra taps, so there you go. But I really am impressed with Oppo's card quality. I think this looks like a good example of the Wizard deck in this format. We can also start throwing away stuff at some point to get in extra damage, like, but it's no need for it right now. Now we got some pressure. Now we're a temporary setback on our pressure. Hey, do y'all know Icy Manipulator is a good card? Icy Manipulator is a good card. We don't have Tatiova anymore, but we also don't have much where, like, I guess we'll save it in hand for Disguise, but not much going on land-wise now. But we don't really have card draw or mana sinks at this point. Another card I love. I like Oppo's deck a lot so far. Ah, good point. Gaia's Blessing could get her back. It's not meaningful card draw though, right? It increases future card draw, but if they're not cards we can use, it doesn't really feel like card draw to me. Wow, I'd actually tap the Omnivore. At least they can, like, if Oppo makes me attack with the Thorn Elemental, they could block and kill it, whereas Omnivore is really tough for them to block and kill. Skin Witch here over the... We can sack a sap to gain 2, but that's not super necessary right now. Well, I don't know. Taking an Abyss from Omnivore every turn is like a bad move too, right? Maybe we're just in a good spot. Let me try and get this game 1 and then repose that question. Thanks for calling that out, Mama, but let me stay focused here as we try to press our advantage while we have it. Almost want to start attacking with everything here. If they want to eat Thallid, that's okay. Like, if we do this, maybe leave the elves, but send everything else, and I don't think I'm sad about any blocks they could make here. They're at 20, so they've got a, you know, but we're putting some pressure here. Yeah, we gotta, well, if, oh, what? Maybe we're getting bounced. I should be careful here. Definitely only doing this. And I'll keep the land. We don't have anything to do with it, and it's a nice threat for Oppo that we have stuff. Everybody knows you're sandbagging a land or 2, but nobody expects you to be sandbagging 4 lands. Okay, not 4 lands. We do need to keep Syncopate in mind, though, if we want to make sure, respect Syncopate and Blink of an Eye. But let's see. I mean, we haven't really cast anything, so it could be a Syncopate type situation. With Urgoros, though, I'm going to do it again. We're going to send the team. We're even shipping the elf this time. Or maybe not. Are we shipping the elf? I guess they just... Yeah, I guess if they want to eat the elf, they take an extra 2. And we can double eat if we need to. Alright, I'm sending it all. Especially with Urgoros back. I think they're going to have to put something in front of the Omnivore here, unless they do have bounce. I could eat, but there's no reason to. It doesn't change anything right now, so not even going to bother eating. And now is the Syncopate question. I guess with 4, 5... Yeah, they can easily Syncopate even if we play a land, so we're not going to play a land. If they have Syncopate, they just get to counter this. All right. Trucking along. That's the best deck we've beaten today. There was one other good one, too. But so far, seeing a lot of suspect card choices from Oppos. But I think that's going to be understandable when they bring back a pretty old format to this system where a lot of people are going to be playing this for the first time, or for the first time in a long time. But yeah, I feel like if I were to make a run for Mythic or whatever, I would hardcore power draft Dominaria right now. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do that on my... paid account or something where I'll play it offline. I just have such a busy weekend coming up. I don't think I'm going to have a lot of time for this set. This is an easy keep. Yeah, I do have opinions on limited 13 land decks, and I shared them yesterday, though, so I haven't... I isolated them as soapboxes that I'm going to put up to YouTube, but right now, if you want to watch it, you'd have to look... go to yesterday's VOD and look at my soapbox after the second game of the draft from yesterday, and you'll find that content. Short version is I don't understand what the people who are doing that are doing and what math they're using and why they think it's good math. It doesn't make sense to me is the bottom line. We could grow, but not much to do with the growth here. I think we'll probably just cast down the Knight of Malice. This is a pretty powerful removal spell, but this is a pretty annoying card, and we're trying to survive till we explode with value. Maybe we give him one turn, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to take out this Knight. Plain and simple. Skin Witch. Let's see, if we play this and Song, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not enough to kick the Witch next turn, so we're not going to do that. And I'm not going to grow here. We're going to play it patient. Actually, I'll just play out this island. We'll play it patiently. We'll kick grow next turn, and if it resolves the turn after that, we'll have lots of fun. Settle the score. Worried about counter magic here, but we're going to give it a try. Another thing this can represent is pretty easily that the Dark Bargain, the 4-mana draw 3, discard 1. But let's start with trying to kick this grow and see if it happens. All right, it happens. We have Forest, Forest, Swamp, Swamp already, and our island is in play, so we'll just get one of each of our main colors here. And we could Song now. What would that get us? It gets us a little extra mana next turn and sets us up for a possible Skin Witch. I don't like Song. I don't think Song does enough here for next turn. We already have a kicked Witch, so no need to Song. In fact, I almost want to keep it in case they can't do it off 4 mana or whatever, but if they kicked us on Skin Witch, I'd ditch these two right now. I was wondering why they weren't offering Construct for Elf. Felt like our Elf was more valuable than their Construct, and I couldn't figure out why, but maybe it was the presence of Zahid in their deck. But obviously, we know we're going to take out Zahid. The thing is, we might want to just wait a turn, take 5, and Skin Witch them first. But let's say they go next turn, they go up to 4 cards, they play 1 and go to 3, and they only play 1 spell and they go to 2. It's possible that we get their last 2 cards if we wait until next turn. So that's a reasonable thing too. And we do have a 2-spell turn in Envoy and Settle. So that's the thing I'm thinking about. I think I'm going to go with Envoy Settle. The cost here is that they may get down to 1 card in their hand before we have a chance to kick a Skin Witch. So we lose some value from that standpoint. But I think it's worth it here to do it this way. Oops, and we get the 1. All right, so we do get their last 2 cards, and we can find some action to deal with this Phantom. Looks like they've got some good recursion stuff here, but hopefully this will be nice and painful for them, and then we can follow with the Song of Freyalise to boot. Yep, pretty good catch. Yeah, it should go up later today, Ziv. Do we trade off? No, we're going to make stuff big. We're going to take 5 here and try and find something else. Or at least just offer the Envoy after it gets to be a 4-3. Really bad draw. Although we understand, you know, we have a 17 land deck with 2 Grows and a Llanowar Elves. So we're going to flood a little bit to the point. Maybe we should actually be running 16. We have some things to do, but boy, we have 2 Grows and a Llanowar Elf, and so I don't know. But we do have a lot of expensive 6 mana type stuff we're trying to do. Hey, yeah, I remember to hold my land. I love you. I love chat. Like, Ryan, come on, hold your land, dummy. I did it. I did it, everybody. I held my land. Yeah, Tatiova is a good reason to keep the land count high. Interesting choice to go Memorial. Like, maybe a little lack of patience. I might have waited until something bigger and better died. I'm going to take this again, though. Try to get our creatures a little bigger, and then find a better way to deal with this Phantom. Oh, did they get this? Or do they get both? Or do they have 2? Or what's going on? They just have 2. Okay, that's a thing that can happen. What did I tell you all was going to happen? Do you remember what I said was going to happen in this event? I said we're going to play a lot of people early with mediocre decks because of this format and people's inexperience with it, and if we get decent mana we should be fine, and then we're going to run into people with stupid stuff, and it's all coming true. Oh, we do get our free shove though. Remember your free shove when Song hits chapter 3. Now we have to trade for this Phantom and just hope they don't have a way to get it back. I don't know why this would be a... Okay, like, for a second it looked like they were not going to attack with the Phantom despite having attacked with it every turn, and I didn't see what had changed so much that they wouldn't want to keep attacking. Did I miss an onboard trick? I did. Onboard trick. How embarrassing. I think we were losing to Zahid anyway, but I wish I didn't embarrass myself with failing to see onboard tricks. This is one of those cards that I hardly ever see played, so I didn't even think about it. Like, this card is not generally... you don't generally have the synergies to make this card work, so I totally forgot it. Good luck, Hannah. Maybe you'll get lucky on the mana and they won't or something. Well, yeah, we're super on the verge of death. We're just dead. Yeah, flooding didn't help, but neither did punting. Well, it didn't cost us in the sense that we were going to lose that anyway, but trying not to fall for onboard tricks, Ryan. All right, let's just get that, at least that one more win and get straight profit out of this. How about that? You're right, Guru. I was failing to follow my own advice that I was talking about yesterday in terms of double blocking in those types of spots, right? We did beat the turtle, though. $5 wins is actually pretty good with this deck. We don't have an amazing deck for this format. We have a solid deck. It was earlier today. It was definitely yesterday. I was talking about it too, though, because I remember talking about it in an Eldraine context. Gross. This cycles, but I can't quite keep this. I'm going to mulligan. All right, let's keep this. And what do we have to pitch, though? Yeah, I think we send the song, right? Because then we get to grow on 3, Joyra on 4, and Urgros on 5. And that's without any other land draw. So yeah, song, see ya. Yeah, we'll cycle this. Sorcery, so we got to do it now. Ooh, that is another powerful card that we're going to have a hard time beating if they find a way to get that onto some legend for 3 mana. All right, well, let's try and get there with Urgros before they can do that. We'll start with a grow. I'm going to go for our splash color. You can make an argument for getting a swamp so that we have fungal available, but I'd much rather get our splash on now. Legend incoming. Here comes, what's her name? 3 mana, 2/2 flying wizard. Adelaise? I don't know how to pronounce her name. War Chief, we can work around. And actually, this is an interesting turn. We get familiar with Infection up. If they send in the War Chief, we can infect it and block with the familiar. All right, well, maybe they'll send in... I guess they won't send in the Siege Gang. So that's a potential problem here. Now, we can get Urgros out, but if we do, it's going to force them... all it will do is get them to spend 2 goblins and their entire next turn taking it out. You could make a case for that, but since we have 2 pieces of removal that can deal with a Siege Gang, let's go looking for that before we just offer up Urgros to their bomb. Wow, short on green right now. Can't cast this elemental as it currently stands. I guess I'll keep familiar around. Nah, they probably just pick it out of the sky anyway. I'll trade a sap for one of them. They probably fired off it. Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I'm happy to take Siege Gang fodder. Ideally, we draw a forest, and I can just drop Thorn Elemental, which should be a thorny issue for Oppo if we can pull that off. We cannot, but... because it's what we do around here, we'll kick a Skin Witch. Closing in on Black Blade, equip for, you know, real troubles. Then we just gotta chump for days. Knocking them down 2 lands probably helps with that. That's one nice thing about Skin Witching somebody looking to Black Blade. Even getting their lands is decent. All right, we're dead. we have like we have one draw step. Can we even? Sorry, Mama, that was quite a wail. Trade. I think we're just dead. Yeah, elemental only lasts one turn. I guess we just take the damage. I mean, prevent the 2. If you were looking at the screen, Mama, you would have screamed 2. Well, technically we can double block Valduke and not die, right?
Your friend here is only mostly dead.
Well, they could also go 2 goblins at the Skin Witch, and then Valduke just eats the Thorn Elemental. And does this leave us dead? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that leaves us dead. So we actually have to, like, block. Is there a way to live? Well, if we can live, it's because we block here. Let's see. Nope, we can't. All right, good game, Oppo. But here's what I'm talking. You know, Black Blade Siege Gang, right? We we were marching along against so-so decks, and then just got slaughtered by some good ones. But you can see even a medium Sultai deck can do fine in this format, especially while people are less familiar with it. A little extra grind. $6.50 and we'll open a pack. And you know, with all of this, funny, we got Zahid after we got slaughtered by Zahid. But with the 120 gems ground from this, we technically kind of have profit, although part of it was just opening packs, so I'll let it be. What do we call this? Domination. Great to have Dominaria back. Happy about that. We are finished in time for me to do a little bit of standard shakeup. I didn't make any decks of my own, but I hear that Mama whispered me one, so I'm going to play a Mama deck. And if anybody wants to battle me in standard shakeup, let me know in chat. And first dibs goes to the viewer with the highest resub month count. So if anybody wants to play me, let me know. Otherwise, I'll battle against anybody, against a rando. Yeah, this set is not legal in standard. I wonder if they do it when you purchase as well. Nope, they didn't add a new thing there. Okay, let's see. Let me start by actually, should have done this earlier. Sometimes I forget, but I'm going to go to Soapbox. Thank you for hanging out, YouTubers. We'll see you next time. Hope you're having a great weekend.